can offer a 100% uptime guarantee on network services, in addition to space and power. And that's important because, network is becoming as important as power in the modern data center environment.
This is FlexTalk.
FlexTalk. FlexTalk.
Hi, and welcome to FlexTalk, Advanced vCenter Access. I'm your host, Erin Pack, and today we'll be discussing how customers are moving their VM workloads to a fully managed cloud. Our subject matter expert I have here today is Derek Siler. Derek is FlexCentral's Channel Solutions Architect, and we've brought him here to discuss some of your critical applications. So let's start with, what is hybrid IT?
Yeah, thank you, Erin. Appreciate you having me. So hybrid IT is a concept in workload deployment which leverages really best of breed, a combination of on-premise deployment of clients' workloads, outsourced co-location, and cloud-based services, either private or public or a combination of both, all designed to work together to meet an enterprise's infrastructure and operational needs, and then, of course, all coordinated together. It's really an evolution for folks that have been in the industry for a while, from the legacy client-server model to multi-cloud, to hybrid deployments, and then ultimately edge, to improve IT responsiveness to the business, optimize the client spend, and better manage their operating risk. Another way to think about this is hybrid IT represents a shift from thinking about your applications or workloads in data centers to centers of data, with hopefully FlexCentral at the center of all of that, helping your clients navigate their infrastructure modernization journey and future-proof their IT investment.
And so what would you say were some of the benefits of hybrid IT?
Well, I think really the main benefit is, first of all, most customers are going to need and embrace hybrid IT. Very few customers have the benefit of being born entirely in the cloud. There's a term, born in the cloud, that gets used a lot, where some organizations will spring up without ever having sort of the legacy infrastructure of owning and operating their own data center. That's not the reality for most customers. Most customers are going to have legacy infrastructure, but then they want to meet the needs of, how do they modernize it? How do they be more responsive to their internal application users, to their external customers? How do they get better release to market? How do they make better use of technical debt? These are all things that a hybrid approach is really best for, because you can really pick the right set of infrastructure for the right kind of workload. And analysts really agree with this model. Analysts are looking at multi-cloud and hybrid. That's going to be the standard for 75% or more of all enterprise IT workloads in the coming years.
So then how do we empower this journey for some of our customers?
Well, so FlexCentral can help in a lot of different ways, right? It starts first foundationally with a nationwide network designed for scale. Probably starting, first and foremost with a robust suite of managed cloud services, right? So whether that's for the enterprise application, like your VMware workloads, or the desktop, we can deliver a secure and compliant cloud experience no matter the workload. And we offer multiple distributed cloud nodes, right? Those are cloud hosting locations or availability zones that bring that experience closer to customers. You can even leverage our newest managed cloud service, Advanced vCenter Access Hosted Private Cloud. And what that does is provide a dedicated vCenter server for your clients, which enables them to bring all the third-party technologies that they might use to manage their VMware environment today, like their own backup software, their own replication software, or maybe VMware tools like NSX and HCX or vRealize operations that let them do things like move virtual machine workloads between VMware clusters, set up security DMZs within their VMware environment, or finely tune their VMware clusters with vRealize operations. We allow them to bring all these third-party tools and integrate it because we're providing them a dedicated vCenter in that cloud environment. So all of these, coming together, allow them to sort of take advantage of the full suite of infrastructure services that FlexCentral has available.
And then how do you think that this is going to help I would say, the legacy workloads?
Yeah, so a lot of these conversations start with, where are you now and where do you want to go, right? So we have 38 interconnected data centers that serve over 19 markets. Our newer data centers, our Generation 3 and Generation 4 data centers, are really designed for high density deployment. They can support greater power densities of up to 50 kW per cabinet. So that's important for customers that are looking at more advanced technologies like AI or machine learning and looking to deploy those into their application environments. So it's going to take a heavy computing requirement. A lot of heavy compute runs very hot. It's going to have a very advanced cooling requirements, and then they're going to want optimal space deployment in their raised floor environment, right? So the ability to deliver 50 kW per cabinet allows customers, to kind of grow up versus growing out, right? In terms of consuming more and more white space, they can actually get better deployment in a more compact amount of space within the data center, and that's economical to the customers.
So will Flexential include any type of security or backup services?
Yeah, we complement all these core infrastructure services with tons of value-added wraparound services like data protection in the cloud. So whether that's for your daily backup or your disaster recovery or even long-term object-based archival storage for more static data. We offer additional support services around things like maintaining clients' OS patching, critical OS patches and updates, configuring their databases or other services that really are designed to help them worry less about managing and maintaining their infrastructure and focusing more on application innovation. And yes, we offer a full suite of security services that can harden critical networks with intrusion detection and prevention, unified threat management, whether that's at the application layer, at the network layer, at the data layer, a full suite of security services. And we can even extend some of these services beyond our four walls with our FlexCentral Professional Services organization to do things like penetration testing in a client's network on premise, cybersecurity program development, and other sort of tabletop consulting exercises. And all these cloud and data center services ride on Flex Anywhere, which is our nationwide 100 gig fiber network backbone. With built-in DDoS mitigation, over 80 carriers on net, access to all the major carrier hotels and POPs, and low latency connectivity to all the public cloud through our new Cloud Fabric solution, which is ideal for workloads that may need to be spun up and spun down quickly, maybe more seasonal in their demand, and those are the kind of workloads that really reside better in a hyperscale environment.
And what would you say is the uptime for the connectivity?
Well, since we own and operate our network outright, right, we can offer a 100% uptime guarantee on network services, in addition to space and power. And that's important because, network is becoming as important as power in the modern data center environment, right? Your users are distributed. They need real-time access to their application. They want those applications to perform well from a latency perspective. And we can even deliver, compute and network services to the very edge with partnerships with third-party providers like American Tower. We can provide available modular data centers. So these are smaller, like 90, 100, 120 kW deployments. Whether it's a single rack, a half rack, quarter rack, they can take some of that compute closer out to the very edge of that client's network. And then, of course, that all rides on that 100 gig, fiber backbone. So it's all on net through our FlexCentral carrier services. So the combination of all these brought together really deliver a truly unique world-class hybrid experience that helps empower clients' IT journeys.
So why do you think that we should consider Flexential for managed cloud services?
Well, I think it's probably, the flexibility, right? So FlexCentral flexibility is in the name, right? So, it starts first with a robust suite of VMware verified cloud offerings, either multi-tenant, provisioned by the resource pool, or hosted private cloud with dedicated compute, or as I mentioned earlier, our new advanced vCenter access hosted private cloud with the added benefit of a dedicated vCenter instance, right? That allows that application protocol interface, that API integration with the vCenter for third-party tools, right? So whether that's clients bringing their own backup software, their own replication tools, their own security and monitoring software, whatever they're using basically to manage their VMware instances on premise today, they can lift and shift that to our hosted private cloud, our advanced vCenter access hosted private cloud, and really run it like they're running it today, right? And we'll manage clients up to the hypervisor. We provide them 5 nines of availability on the compute, and then 100% uptime SLA on the cloud network infrastructure.
Okay, so what if I'm only looking for virtual desktop?
Well, these cloud instances, whether for the enterprise app or the virtual desktop, are geo-dispersed across 6 regional cloud availability zones across the country. That brings this experience closer to customers. So even if it's a selective instance, like the deploying for virtual desktops, that's certainly something that we can provide customers. We can also give them the infrastructure to manage that themselves, right? So whether that's Citrix or VMware Horizon, that's going to need deep integration with the vCenter server, so we can give them the basic infrastructure for that, or we can give them that fully managed desktop and provide them the flexibility for either or.
Okay, so what makes Flexential's advanced vCenter so unique?
Well, it's really the only fully managed VMware-based private cloud offering on the market that provides customers a dedicated vCenter instance, right? So most cloud managed service providers in the market space are going to provide access to the VDC or virtual data center through something called vCloud Direct or another VMware product, right? Fine product for managing your VDC. You can spin up and spin down virtual machines. You can add more resources to those VMs. It's a great product, but it doesn't have a lot of API integration capability, right? So let's say you have your own backup software that you just made a significant investment in licensed software around, right? That's called sometimes technical debt. You don't want to just dispose of all of that technical debt as you move that workload from an on-premise deployment into the cloud. It'd be ideal if you could take that with you, right? So it's getting at that concept of interoperability, right? Customers can get the benefits of cloud without having to significantly change what they're doing today. Everybody has this concept as when they go to a hyperscale environment, like one of the public cloud providers, that the challenges of operations suddenly go away. That's just simply not true, right? You've got to learn a new hypervisor, a new set of tools. You might have to hire new talent on board. Well, what if you've been running VMware, on premise for quite some time? You've probably built up all of your IT business operations to support that environment. Wouldn't it simply be easier to continue to maintain all of that and then get out of the business of hosting your own data center, get out of the business of continually refreshing your infrastructure, right? That's what our advanced vCenter access hosted private cloud allows clients to do.
Okay, I know that some of the customers have different needs and different wants, but after speaking with some other customers, I'm thinking, particularly some customers that will probably need different hardware or will want to bring in their own license. So how will that work out?
Yeah. So we support bring your own license, right? So if a customer wants to bring their own licenses with them, that's really that use case that I was talking about with advanced vCenter access, right? That's what kind of makes it unique. So if clients have a significant investment in Cohesity, for example, and they want to take advantage of that and move that, with them to the cloud, or they're a NetApp shop and they want to use NetApp SnapMirror to continue to manage their storage environment, you're going to have that sort of a cloud that's going to provide the flexibility and open up the API access for customers to integrate that software into that environment so that they can continue to operate that like they're used to operating it on premise today.
Okay, so earlier you mentioned Flex Anywhere. And
Mhm.
so how can it connect to all of Flexential's data centers? Can you tell me
Sure.
how that works?
Yeah, so Flex Anywhere is our trade name, right? It's a brand name, but it's basically our network services backbone or fiber backbone. It's a 100 gig fiber network backbone that connects all of our 38 data center environments, all of our multiple cloud availability zones. Those all ride on DCI or data center interconnection fiber links between all of those locations. We also augment that with our IP bandwidth services, right? So that's for customers coming in over the internet to access those environments that are hosted at Flexential. We augment that with integrated DDoS protection, right? So we have that built in to our Flex Anywhere to provide customers protection from volumetric attacks into their environment. And then with our new cloud fabric, we provide dedicated private connectivity from all of our data center environments into the public cloud, right? So a lot of deployments are going to be multi-cloud, right? Customers are going to want to have maybe their ERP workloads, hosted in a critical hardened data center like Flexential, but they might want to spin up some, productivity suites, for example, in a public cloud, or maybe build out a large data lake, right? There's benefits to take advantage of in scalability, for example, and elasticity in the public cloud. So we want to give customers the opportunity to take advantage of that where it makes most sense.
Okay, so all I need is FlexCentral's colocation services to get started, but why would I go with FlexCentral's power density compared to someone else's?
Sure. Our Generation 3 and Generation 4 data centers are basically built for high density. And what that means is that we can support power densities of up to 50 kW per cabinet in terms of the way we design redundancy into our data center design, the way we design cooling efficiency into our data center design. That allows us to deliver a very high power density to an individual cabinet, right? Up to 50 kWs per cabinet. And so a lot of times as customers are looking at more advanced technology like artificial intelligence and machine learning and so forth, that's going to, require very high IOPS, high performance computing, right? And so high IOPS, high performance computing is going to require a lot of kW, right? A lot of power to power that up. So it would be more efficient to be able to deliver that power into as light a footprint as possible, right? So the ability to deliver 50 kW per cabinet means they're only renting one cabinet, and we can deliver the power draw that they need into a more limited footprint. That's a real differentiation from a lot of the other mid-market colocation providers that don't have that advanced data center design that's not really built for high density. So where I saw it described to me once was it allows customers to grow up versus grow out, right? They can continue to deploy, more and more application environments with more and more, high performance computing to power those environments without having to continue to expand into more and more white space to support their infrastructure.
Okay. I've heard a lot of customers being very cautious, especially when it comes to physical security of the data centers, including cages. Is there something that kind of you could give us a peace of mind that would, help us or the customers configure their physical security?
Yeah, well, I would think that physical security is sort of foundational in terms of what customers would be looking for in a data center co-location partner, right? So we augment our physical security with 6-zone security access that protects the customer's environment. So these are things like, gated entrances, round-the-clock on-site security, and technical staff, right? So they have the ability to, deploy smart hands, but also, fully staffed environments 24/7, dual factor authentication, man traps, biometric scanners, and again, flexibility is in the name. So we'll be very approachable and agreeable in terms of augmented security that customers would want to deploy in their environment. There's some very large customers in the finance vertical, for example, that are co-located on our floor that have a security guard literally stationed within their co-location cage, right? So there's continuing ways to augment the security, whether that's CCTV, whether that's security cards deployed, whether that's very limited access into those environments that of course is flexible and managed by the customer. And all of our data centers from a compliance perspective meet the strictest compliances for things like HIPAA and high trust and PCI DSS, and all that's audited annually. And we have DSIM, data center infrastructure monitoring features that are built into our Flexential Experience portal. This Flexential Experience portal was significantly upgraded and relaunched in the past year. So now customers can view real-time environmental statistics at the cage and cabinet level, so they can take a look at things like power utilization, not just real time as in current, but over time, so they can get trends and see trend lines and directions and so forth. So they can do that for power utilization, space, temperature, humidity readings. You can easily manage bandwidth usage in real time, purchase additional capacity if needed, all through the Flexential experience portal. But ultimately, customers aren't just choosing FlexCentral for our data centers, right? It's our ability to deliver hybrid, and hybrid is about combining that co-location with cloud and managed services, all brought together to deliver that unique solution that helps future-proof a client's IT investment.
Okay. With the vCenter access, will our customers be able to manage on-premises virtual workloads?
Well, they'll be able to manage their virtual workloads just like they do on premise today, right? I think that would be a slightly better way to state it. So, moving and migrating those classic ERP-based VMware workloads to a cloud environment is hard, right? Your ERP environments, the stuff that run your payables, your receivables, that you close your books with, right? The things that are the cash register of your business. You're not just gonna, up and re-platform that overnight to make that run in a public cloud. You've got a lot of business processes, you've got a lot of technology, you've got a lot of people invested in managing that environment on premise in a specific way, and you're going to want to continue to do that because it would be significantly disruptive to the business to try to re-platform that into a different hypervisor. So what Advanced vCenter Access allows you to do is it's basically the easy button to take some of these workloads that are difficult to put into a public cloud and move them into a public cloud so the customer can get all the benefit of that, right? Not being in the business of refreshing their hardware, exit the data center to protect those workloads, and then have a trusted partner like Flexential that can manage and scale out that infrastructure as these environments grow.
Well, that wraps up our Flex Talk on vCenter Access. Thank you, Derek, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
If you'd like to speak to Derek directly, we've attached his contact information in the left text box, and also we've included some additional information you can download. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, Flex Talk.